The flashbulbs exploded like fireworks, blinding and relentless, as the marble steps of the Astoria Grand filled with glittering gowns and sharp tuxedos. Inside the ballroom, money whispered through the crystal chandeliers and golden champagne flutes. But outside, standing awkwardly next to a man she'd only met 2 hours ago, Emily Rivera clutched her borrowed clutch so tightly her knuckles turned white. She didn't belong here, not with these people, not in that dress, and certainly not beside one of the most eligible CEOs in New York, whose only request to her had been simple: just pretend. If you're someone who believes in the power of kindness, second chances, and the quiet strength of ordinary hearts, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Royal Stories. Your support helps bring these emotional journeys to life, and we're so grateful you're here. Emily hadn't planned to be anyone's date that night. Just that morning, she'd spilled coffee on herself during a double shift at the cafe. Her rent was 2 months behind. Her only nice pair of shoes had broken heels. But fate has a twisted sense of humor. She'd only returned a stranger's phone when he left it on the counter, an act so small, so simple, it didn't even register in her mind. But to Alexander Kane, it had been a moment of grace. Alex, a self-made tech billionaire, wasn't used to kindness that didn't come with expectations. Everyone wanted something: an investment, a connection, his name, his time. And now, facing an elegant gala hosted by his ex-fiancée, Victoria Langford, heiress to the Langford shipping empire, he needed a date. Not someone glamorous or high-profile, but someone unexpected. A nobody, someone who wouldn't draw attention, but wouldn't embarrass him either. Emily didn't say yes immediately. She didn't even believe he was serious at first. But when he offered her a chance to wear a designer gown, eat at the gala, and simply pretend to be his date for one night, no strings, no weird expectations, she hesitated. Not because she wanted to impress anyone, but because for the first time in months, someone was offering her a break. Just a sliver of magic. Just for a night. The transformation had been surreal. A team arrived within an hour. Hairstylists, makeup artists, a personal shopper with racks of gowns. When Emily saw herself in the mirror for the first time, she nearly cried. Not because she looked different, but because for once, she didn't look like someone who was always tired, always struggling. She looked radiant, regal, even like someone who belonged. But the true test came when she stepped into the ballroom on Alex's arm. Whispers immediately erupted. Victoria's eyes locked on Emily like a hawk spotting prey. Heiresses in couture whispered behind champagne flutes. The Langford family board members eyed her with the cold scrutiny reserved for those without a last name worth printing. And yet, Emily smiled. She had no idea how to walk in heels that high. She didn't know which fork to use. But what she did have, humility, grace, and a quiet confidence born from surviving hardship, set her apart from every polished, perfect socialite in the room. When a guest spilled wine on his jacket, she calmly offered him a napkin and joked about her days cleaning tables. When a retired ambassador asked her opinion on literature, she spoke passionately about the books she borrowed from the public library on her lunch breaks. When the pianist fumbled a note during a performance, she clapped anyway and smiled, and soon others followed her lead. The tension in the room softened. And Alex watched, mesmerized. He'd expected her to be nervous, to cling to him, but instead, she glided through the evening with gentle composure and unaffected warmth. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. That was the difference. She simply was real, unfiltered, and radiant in a room full of curated perfection. But Victoria wasn't about to be upstaged. She approached with that brittle smile, clinking heels, and venomous charm that had once entranced Alex. "So," she said coolly, "how did you two meet?" Emily could have fumbled. She could have lied or hesitated. But instead, she met Victoria's gaze with calm sincerity and said, "I returned his phone this morning. I guess sometimes kindness takes you unexpected places." The silence was deafening. And then, like a crack in marble, laughter, real, genuine, broke from a nearby guest who overheard. And just like that, the spell shattered. Emily wasn't an imposter. She was the heart of the room. Later, when the dancing began, Alex led her to the floor. Neither of them said much. But the way he looked at her had shifted. This wasn't pretend anymore. Not for him. And Emily, she wasn't sure what was real, only that for the first time in years, someone had seen her. Not as a waitress, not as someone struggling to make ends meet, but as someone worth knowing. And then, at the end of the night, as the lights dimmed and the guests began to leave, something unexpected happened. An older woman, elegant and stern-faced, approached Emily. She introduced herself as Eleanor Langford, Victoria's aunt, and one of the oldest shareholders in the family company. "You remind me of my sister," she said softly. "Before all this glitter turned us cold. Thank you for bringing something warm into this house again." Emily blinked back tears. She didn't get a fairy tale that night. She didn't go home in a limo. She took the subway, alone, clutching her heels in one hand and the borrowed dress carefully folded over her arm. But something had changed. The next morning, a bouquet of wildflowers arrived at her cafe with a simple note. "You outshone them all, eh?" She smiled, not because of the flowers, but because she finally believed it. And days later, when the tabloids exploded with headlines about the mystery date who stole the gala, Emily didn't hide. She didn't flinch, because she wasn't pretending anymore. She was simply herself, and that was enough. If this story touched your heart, made you believe in the quiet strength of kindness and the magic of being truly seen, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Royal Stories. Your support helps keep these beautiful stories alive, one soul at a time. Special request. Before you go, drop a comment and tell us, have you ever met someone who changed your life in just one night? We'd love to hear your story.